Silver Lake. The leader of the group climbed in a back window of the house belonging to Leno and Rosemary LaBianca. The LaBiancas owned a chain of grocery stores, and they had just returned home from a vacation. It was several days before their bodies were discovered. Leno LaBianca had been tied up and had died from multiple stab wounds. A knife and fork were found protruding from his abdomen, and the word war had been carved in his flesh. Rosemary LaBianca had also been tied. She was found lying on the bedroom floor, and she too died from multiple stab wounds. And like the Tate murders, police found words written in blood. On the refrigerator door, the misspelled words "helter skelter." On the walls, also scrawled in blood, were "death to piggies" and "rise." Even though the two cases had striking similarities, it wasn't till 3 months later, and after a jailhouse confession, that the police fully realized their connection. By late November, the police finally came up with enough evidence for a grand jury to indict 6 suspects. Charlie Manson, 34, had spent most of his life in juvenile halls and prisons for armed robbery, homosexual rape, grand theft auto, and arson. He was a cult leader to a band of homeless, drug-addicted youths. He exercised such mind control of his followers that they not only did his bidding like slaves, but murdered for him, and did it with a sense of euphoria. Charles Tex Watson, 23, Manson's right-hand man. Watson was the one using the .22 caliber revolver at the Tate Polanski house. He was high on methamphetamines. He has since indicated that he had no inhibitions as he was killing. At the LaBiancas, after Charles Manson had tied up Leno's and Rosemary's hands behind their backs, Tex stabbed them to death. Patricia Krenwinkel, 21, participated in both the Tate and LaBianca murders. After stabbing Leno LaBianca, she carved the word "war" on his stomach and left a serving fork stuck in his body. She also smeared the words in blood on the refrigerator and the walls. Susan Atkins, 21, was the one who stabbed Sharon Tate to death, and she claimed to have enjoyed it. When asked why they had committed these murders, she was quoted as saying, "Because we wanted to do a crime that would shock the world, and that the world would have to stand up and take notice." Leslie Van Houten, 19, the youngest of the group, did not participate in the Tate murders, but went with Manson, Krenwinkel, Matson, and Atkins to the LaBiancas. She stabbed Rosemary LaBianca multiple times, but claimed she only did so after Rosemary was already dead. All were convicted of first-degree murder and were sentenced to death. During the trial, Charlie Manson's girls never seemed to take their somber proceedings very seriously. And what was Manson's motive for all the killing? He believed that the English musical group the Beatles had sent him hidden messages through their music, urging him to launch Helter Skelter, by which he would begin a race war between blacks and whites. He also believed that he and his followers would be the sole survivors and would rule the world. In 1972, the California Supreme Court abolished the death penalty, and now 30-some years later, all are in various prisons serving life sentences. Sunset Boulevard, the Strip, is no longer what it used to be. Back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it was a glittering highway through Hollywood heaven, a fanfare of glamorous nightclubs. By 1976, its heyday was well over. The stars had left and had turned off most of the lights on their way out. But one star was left behind. He was murdered on the night of February the 12th, here in the garage area of this apartment building. It was about 10 o'clock when several of his neighbors heard him cry out for someone to help him. 3 times he screamed, but at that point it was already too late. His name was Sal Mineo, a talented stage and screen actor. He was born in New York, the Bronx, on January the 10th, 1939. His first important role was on stage, appearing with Yul Brynner in The King and I. Sal was the crown prince, and after almost 900 performances, the critics awarded him rave reviews. In 1955, he first stepped in front of a motion picture camera at Warner Brothers. The picture was Rebel Without a Cause, starring James Dean. Sal received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor for his portrayal of the character Plato. In that same year came Giant, again with James Dean, and then another Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in Exodus.